The NBA playoffs are heating up, and so is the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. With same-game parlays, live betting, odds boosts, and so much more. Don't miss out as the NBA postseason winds down.
Oh boy, the playoffs have gotten fun. The Nuggets Timberwolves series is crazy, and we are locked in to see who comes out of Mavericks Thunder as well. And if you're new to DraftKings, you got to check this out. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code Jenkins. That's code JENKINS Jenkins for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
2, 1, we're live.
Welcome to Jenkins and Jones on the Volume Podcast Network. It is Sunday, May 19th, and we
Bring your ass.
Let's go. We got a fun one. We had 2 Game 7s today. The Timberwolves beat the Nuggets. The Pacers beat the Knicks. We've got our conference finals all matched up. We're so excited to talk about all that, and we're going to do Dookie Butt of the Week and everything else too. As always, Jenkins and Jones hosted by LaJethro Jenkins, a.k.a. John.
What's up, Bubbas?
Dragonfly Jonez not able to join us tonight, but we'll be back on Tuesday when we go live. And I do have I have some exclusive Dragonfly Jonez untweeted thoughts to release live on the podcast.
He sent them to you? Did he send them to you?
Yeah, he texted me. This is like what it used to be a television broadcaster in 1950. It was like, I get to tell everyone what. I'm Cardi B, aka Mike.
Motherfucking Mike.
And we are produced tonight by the lovely and talented Josh Rodriguez, Knicks fan extraordinaire. Very excited to hear Josh's thoughts.
This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. This is yours.
How you doing?
Hell yeah.
I needed something.
Yeah.
Jackson got that one.
I feel like Josh,
that's fire.
Josh, would you agree that there's like a healthy Venn diagram overlap between Hispanic people and Italian people from New York?
At 1,000%, we're so similar. It's absurd how similar we are. It's, I mean, Spain and Italy are right next to each other, so it's basically the same country. That's how I feel.
That's a good point.
The tempers.
All right, the fucking Timberwolves did it. I mean, like John, we were. Look at John right now.
They said we wouldn't do it. I ain't gonna even do that, bro. But I did say Game 7. I feel like it was repeatable. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the same, but I think that defense, bro. Different. And also, Ant at the top of the key is the difference maker to me. Ant giving them all, like, bro, Murray, the first half and second half, totally different player because Ant put that heat on. When they ratchet that defense up, I wouldn't say it's impossible to beat them, but they make it extremely difficult. And we just saw that man snatch the head of the motherfucking MVP right on fucking national television. Bro, so fucking excited, bro. I haven't been this excited about basketball in since 2016, 2017.
Before we talk about the actual game, that's what I want to talk about. Because you and I said the same thing when we hopped on. I have friends who are, I wouldn't say falling away from basketball, but they're much more heavily, it was like 50% football, 50% basketball. They're falling towards football. I do think the Europeanization of the league. I do think that has something to do with it. And we talked about that with Merrill. You're not having arguments in 7th grade about Jokic, bro, with your friends. You're just not. You could love seeing him play, all this other stuff. But I have people texting me with emotion, like you said, that was emotion we saw and felt for Braun versus Steph, not for Jokic versus Giannis, whatever else. And I feel like Ant being the guy that everyone wants, we all want to be the face of the league, has a lot to do with that. But tell me about what Adrian was saying to you. Tell me about how you felt watching the Timberwolves snatch this shit back for real American basketball, John.
As a dude who watches just because I love the game, I haven't been that excited personally. Adrian will hit me up with highlight. He's been watching. He's talking about all his friends talking about it too. But he said, I know this playoffs is good because my best friend John is calling me talking about it. And I know he watches all the games, but he never hits anybody up to talk about it outside of the podcast. Like, I really am enjoying it. And I think the thing is, it's Ant, bro. Like, when's the last time we saw a player that was that good and that relatable? And that shit when he said, I told him, motherfucker, seeing you at Game 7. Told Chuck, bring your ass. That's how my niggas talk, bro. And we don't see people like Brian, KD, all these guys, you know what I mean? Like, they're so media trained. Ant doesn't give a fuck. He's so relatable, and he just won me over. I tweeted last game. I was like, I need a jersey because I just like who he is, and on top of it, he's a great fucking basketball player, bro. I mean, like he is something special, and to see him in a game 7 struggle in the first half, you know what I mean? Pick it up a little bit in the kind of figure it out in the third quarter, and then like he's like, how I can really get shit going is on the defensive end. You feel me? And like I was talking to Josh about this shit. Like when people talk about getting a rhythm, when you're playing your best, basketball is jazz. You know what I mean? You have to feel it when you get in the rhythm. You have to feel it. You know what I mean? If you're counting your steps on some and 5 and 6 and 7, you're not gonna be at your best. You know what I mean? And that's what he did to Murray. Murray was in a rhythm. He was playing like, bro, he was Miles Davis with the motherfucking trumpet. You know what I mean? And Ant put that heat on his ass and made him think. He was counting his steps instead of just playing and getting the feeling. It was beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
I think there was one other really relatable moment that you mentioned. Like you saw him talking shit to the old man sitting courtside after he hit the 3. It's an old man who was like, oh, and he's looking, he's like, where are you at? Where are you at? And then he threw a little something else I can't say at the end of it too.
Called it an N-word? But what he mixed it in with? Did he hit him with the fuck nigga? Because don't tell me that, bro. I might explode right here. Oh, I mean, he hit where you at, fuck nigga?
It was just straight. He hit him with it neat. No ice.
That's enough. Yeah. That's enough. I ain't mad at it. You know what I mean?
I could not agree with you more though. And I feel like he made me root. Shea Serrano tweeted this, but he was spot on. He made me root for Cat and Rudy Gobert.
Bruh.
I was rooted like
I'm not mad at Cat, but the Rudy part, we locked me. Yes, go ahead.
I mean, Cat's not my guy, but Rudy. I mean, I was yelling at myself about Rudy Gobert in the midway through the fourth quarter. I was like, "Who was talking shit on Rudy Gobert?" It was like, me. Like so I was talking.
So you jumped on the Glaze train, brother.
But I do think there's something to his leadership. Like we talked about, that he's elevated everyone around him to where you see Cat that put back hammer dunk, and he didn't even react. He just ran back to play defense, bro.
Business as usual, bro. We just playing basketball, baby.
This is the second time in franchise history they're going to the Western Conference Finals, and he has all these dudes acting. This is Mike Conley's first Game 7 win ever. He has all these dudes acting like, of course we've been here. Of course we're going to beat the defending champs in Game 7.
Them niggas was crying from winning the playing game. Wasn't this that team? Like, this is the same players that were crying, like celebrating, hugging each other on the scorer's table. Like, you know, look at, you know what I mean? Like, and these dudes are going to they have a real chance at winning a chip. Ant has changed this franchise completely with his energy and his mindset. You feel me? Like, and to the fact that somebody that wields this power, you know what I mean, is a relatable regular human is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
When we're talking about his height, they said he was 6'3". I'm like, I would have swore to God the nigga was at least 6'6".
Right.
Would have bet way more money than I had on it. Like, fuck, it's a dude, the aura he comes with, the way he plays. It's just so impressive. But yo, we got to give it to Rudy Gobert. 4 for 4 from the free throw line in the big minutes when they could have made a run, getting fouled, 4 for 4, had that fucking fadeaway. I'm like, Rudy, who? Is that Gobert? Is that the same nigga? You know what I'm saying? Like, insane. Naz Reid came in after Cat got hurt. Cat was the one getting buckets. Like, Cat was the one playing well, kind of keeping them in it while, you know what I'm saying, while everybody else was struggling. You feel what I'm saying? And like, he goes out. Naz comes in off the bench, plays great defense on Joker. You feel me? And then it's great on the offensive end as well. I mean, it like that. This team is so exciting. When Ant hit that 3-pointer to put him up 10, I felt I was going to levitate. Like I told you, I would have electrocuted a nigga if I would have touched somebody, bro. I'm talking about, bro, skin on, just they bringing the love back, bro. They bringing the fun back to basketball, G. In Minnesota, insane.
In Minnesota,
this like how?
And but we said too right when we hopped on, this felt like I love the new era of basketball. I love the Warriors run. Sure. But this to me felt like real, like this felt like a real fucking basketball game. These dudes were beating each other up. Fucking Ant is snatching the ball off Jamal Murray and then running the other way and dunking him. This was real fucking hoops. God damn. This is not just what's the analytic, how much space can we get, and what's the analytics of how efficiently you can shoot the three. This was fucking hoop. This was beating each other up at like three dudes blocking Jokic and running down the other court and dunking, bro.
When niggas talking about dog shit, that's what we talking about. That was some doghouse ass shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and at the top of the key, like, yo, my shit ain't going well, but how I can affect the game, locking down, standing the nigga up, bro. He had 24 in the first half. None of that, bro. I think he had 7 in the second half. You feel me? Like, couldn't get shit going. Like, and it was that from the best player on the team.
It was Ant.
It was Ant.
Who, and by the way, who already said on the post-game interview, they asked him at the end, and you talk about how he's different from the usual media trading. If you ask any of the legends in the NBA right now, Bron, KD, Steph, what do you think about your Western Conference final matchup? What are they going to say? They're a great team.
Tough team. We got blah, blah, blah.
It'll be a good series. Yeah. This is what Ant said. Should be fun. Kyrie's my matchup, so we'll see what we can do.
Listen, hey, I'm going to cry, Mike. I'm going to cry. It's back. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get the skills. With skills, we've always done the skills. Yeah. But the spirit, nigga. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When this guy is like, I want that nigga. I want the motherfucking alchemist with the basketball. I want the wizard with the basketball. I want to really show what time it is. I love this, bro. I am so excited about it, bro. I'm so excited. I never thought I'd be this excited about basketball that didn't involve the gods. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying Joker's not a god. You know what I mean? But like, that didn't involve like the Brons and the KDs. I thought I was gonna just be watching on some, bro, I'm locked the fuck in. I need this. More, please.
Yeah. I think, but you hit it exactly, because we had the dudes we looked up to growing up. We had, Michael Jordan. We had the legends of the 90s. Then we had the dudes who are our age, right? We're like, we're not Bron and KD and Steph, but those dudes are all within a couple of years of our age range or whatever. And then all of a sudden they start aging up. We were talking about it all season. Like, all they were doing all year was talking about the Lakers, the Warriors on like ESPN and shit. It's like, these teams are in 9th and 10th place.
Bro,
this is all we have left media-wise.
Bro,
it kind of felt like the party was ending. You know what I mean?
Thirsty. It felt thirsty. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then we get this dude coming in, and like, dude, the Nuggets are a great team. And I'm not gonna, like, they're a small market, all that. I don't give a fuck. That's good basketball.
Yeah.
They're a fun team to watch. I like Joker. He's a great fucking basketball player. The things he does is special. But like, Ant coming in and on this big stage, this young dude who we thought this was 3 years out at minimum.
Right.
You feel me? Like, you know what I mean? This nigga is 22, leading a team. Like, and I didn't realize this because he's so young. It's like, I was like, these guys are young and they were saying without, and not including Ant, they're one of the older teams in the NBA.
Right.
Ant injects a level of energy into teams.
Confidence.
Confidence, bro. Like, it's just it's crazy what we're watching. It's hard for me to truly understand. But like, for a dude who is damn near 20 years younger than me to have me this connected to the game, I mean, he's just special. He is special. And hats off to the Nuggets. Great basketball team. They fought hard, bro. I thought they was gonna cook these boys how they started off.
Yeah.
But that Timberwolves defense, when have you seen, like, everybody can fucking lock up? The defensive player of the year is a dude that we see to be fooled more than other players, which is crazy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But he played really well in the fourth quarter. He played physical. Period. And he played, yeah, absolutely. But
at the rim.
But you just said you got the defending champs at home in their place, a place they have a pretty historically strong home court advantage. You held them to 37 points in the second half.
And bro, a half.
You had this is a stat everyone should be talking about tomorrow. Jokic and Murray combined for 69 of the 90 points that the Nuggets scored tonight because of what you just said. Everyone's getting locked up. They're not just focused on, we got to get the ball out of his hands. He's locked up too. This motherfucker locked up too. MPJ 3 for 12, one of 6.
Joker, what that nigga? How? Locked up.
Jokic and Murray, 6 of 22 from 3 tonight. They did score 34 and 35 points, but 6 of 22 from 3.
When it mattered, they had that heat on them. And the thing about playing that type of defense, I think the reason like they have halves like that, we saw it with the Lakers. We talked about how the Lakers, they started off with their defense. It's hard to play basketball that way. Where like the defense is what gets you going. Where you're standing up, guys like the Nuggets, like where they're deep offensive.
Right.
And you are locked in on everybody. It's hard to play basketball like that. But when they decide to lock in, bro, that is one of the I've never 1 through 6, just solid elite defenders. Right. It's just, bro, it's special. It's special. But I'm happy to be here, my nigga. That's where I'm at with it. Just happy to be here, bro. I'm happy to be able to watch this, bro. I think we saw the beginning of something special. And it feels like just the beginning. You know what I mean?
I couldn't agree with that more. I also think you talk about a defensive team. The part that's craziest to me was they were down. I want to make sure I have the numbers exactly right.
15.
It was 53 to 38.
Yeah.
53 to 38. Now you tell me another sport where you think a defense first team has a shot in that scenario. In football, you're a defense first team. You're down. Sorry, that was not the way the game plan worked for you, right?
Right.
They walked their ass down. They're down 15 and have faith in their defense to just chip away at it, get down by 1 going into the fourth quarter. And I'll tell you what, John, when I really felt like I knew we were gonna have a special one was Gobert hits that first bucket, that almost accidental go-ahead
the
bucket.
Universe talking. That's that foreshadowing we talked about. Bro. I was like, go who? You know what I'm saying?
Mike, the chat also wants you to apologize to Gobert right now. They're begging for it.
I am not going to apologize to Rudy Gobert.
What you got against the Fritz, bro? Is this a long-standing
here's the lane I'm going to split. I'm not going to apologize to him, but I am going to say that I was wrong. How about that? Wow. Does that work?
This is the opposite of who you are, though. Like, I know Shaw ain't letting that go.
I'll let you know if they accept it as an apology.
No, put the poll up on that if they'll accept that or not. I'll say this. The thing that I find fascinating about Rudy Gobert, and today he plays so well in the fourth quarter that I'll move him from infuriating to fascinating in the way that my brain.
The first half was frustrating.
Is that he's always playing at an extreme. There's not a lot of plays that he's involved in defensively or offensively that are boring, normal plays. There's not a lot of pass into Rudy Gobert, pass out to someone who misses a three-pointer. It's if they give him the ball, something fucking weird in one direction or another is happening. And it's the same thing when he gets involved defensively. It's not a lot of he's hedging on a pick and roll and they kick it out. It's guys feel compelled to attack him. And then sometimes something really cool happens. And sometimes Jokic, 2 minutes before he started the fourth quarter, that was unbelievable. Jokic hit that man and his body disintegrated. He just stopped existing on the mortal plane for 30 full seconds before he picked himself up off the floor. So he is both of those players. And that's what makes him like I said, he's fascinating to me at this point. Because I did not think, based on what we've seen from him, even in the playoffs, I didn't think he had it in him to nut up the way he did in the fourth quarter. But I'm giving him all the credit for the fourth quarter. He turned his shit around. He played an unbelievable fourth quarter. I'm not going to apologize to that man. I don't have that in my spirit, but he prayed to the fucking frog or the Eiffel Tower or whatever he needed to do before that fourth quarter. And he went out and played 12 unbelievable minutes of basketball, or 8 until he fouled out, whatever it was.
The philosophy changed, like we said, when he's off Joker, it's a much better situation. You know what I mean? But on the offensive end, like I said, those free, how many, was he 7-3? How many 7-3 bigs are you confident in?
Clutched
up, bro.
And he's not good. That's not
buzzer beater. The shot clock, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, bro, you feel me? And this is the thing. I'm not mad at Gobert if he just stays out the way. And I think he knew when to get involved and to stay the fuck out the way. Don't clog the lane up. He knew how to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? The biggest quarter of maybe the Timberwolves' potential of his. I mean, one of the biggest scorers in the history of the franchise, and he played great. Can't take it away from him.
Well, and we got to give we got to talk a little bit about Naz Reid as well. I mean, Naz Reid coming out 6th man of the year for a reason, because like you said, they put him on Jokic. You could see Jokic almost like when you're playing basketball and the dude you don't want to be guarding you is on you. You know what I'm saying? That's what he was like. He tightened up.
For sure. And like the dude, like we talked about this a little bit before, where like in free agency, nobody was really stressing Naz. Like he wasn't getting 30 when what's up, Claire? What's up, Claire? Fan favorite. What's up, man? How you feeling?
Been different times in the past week. So I don't even know. I can't
Claire,
feel good or bad.
Your opinion of Rudy Gobert in this moment is what we were just talking about.
Okay. So that I feel good about. I feel solid. I feel like I was right, generally speaking. He did get out of his own way in the second half, which
this is literally what John just said.
Really? Because we're simpatico.
Yeah. You feel me? We locked in.
But yeah, he got out of his own way in the second half, but I still do feel pretty like, I don't feel like we were wrong about him overall, because that first half performance is the reason, in my opinion, they were down. They had to claw out of that deficit, but maybe they work well when they're clawing out of a deficit. Like, I don't even know what to believe anymore. Is that why they won the game? Because they got galvanized at halftime from the huge deficit? Like, what is up? What is down?
I think something that, because we're just about to sort of finish talking about Anthony Edwards, just something I want to say that I thought was so impressive was, they surprised him with the like, it was sort of, I felt like it was a twofold defensive strategy. They're going to blitz and double Ant every time he touches the ball. And then they're going to let Rudy post up on someone that it looks like it's easy for him to post up on, because they trust that he's not going to do something good with the ball.
Yeah.
And it felt like it took Ant a full half to kind of adjust to, okay, I need to see the game different. I need to be positioned different. I need to run the offense differently. And you can see that's not a great part of his game yet. When he was kicking out, like he's maybe making the right read, but people are catching that ball at their shoes, or they're catching it way above their head. It's not like Braun passing out of a double where it's like a shooting machine
right in their pocket. You know,
100%.
Right.
But he figured it out within the game 7. It wasn't a lesson learned. Next year he comes back to, and that to me was what was so impressive. It's game 7 on the road, and he was able to make that adjustment and figure that out within the game to still do enough to lead his team to a victory. That's the shit, to do that at 22 against the defending national, like the defending champs. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. It was so impressive to watch him sort of figure that out in real time, because like you said, he was struggling so much with that double team at first. And also to have the poise to be like, even if I don't have it, we're in it. And to be telling his teammates that on the bench, it kind of just speaks to what we were talking about last time about that maturity and, just his leadership. It was really incredible. Also, like, shout out to Karl Anthony Towns. I've been extremely critical of him. And I think he just deserved all the criticism that he's been given. He makes, more boneheaded plays sometimes, it feels like, than like anybody in the league. But he was incredible tonight, and he needs all the praise in the world, because they absolutely do not win that game without him. Like, not even close. Obviously, it was an entire team effort, but I think he was the difference maker tonight, and he's the reason they're in the conference finals. So shout out to him for sure.
I think one thing too is on the offense, when Ant can't get going, they kind of rush things. Like we talked about how, like if he passes it off and the ball comes back to him, that when the ball comes back, the double team isn't as tough. You know what I mean? So just get the ball back to him. Also, one thing, when he'll pass off and he won't move, it'll be like a couple passes and they'll shoot it. They don't move the ball. They started slowing down a little bit and getting the shots they wanted. They weren't just taking what was accepted. You know what I mean? They were more patient as a whole on the offensive end, which helped. But also those, the defense just ratcheting it up and them getting those, runaway dunks. Didn't help. But I felt like they all, in the biggest moment, calmed down, hit him with the woosah. Like, bro, let's just play ball how we play ball. And it seemed like everybody calmed down. It seemed like it was the opposite on the people who had already been there in the Nuggets. It's like they were pressing. And that's what's crazy too. And we talked about, like, they've been here before. and it looked the opposite, which is interesting. But
It
man,
really did.
Yeah.
That was what was so interesting. Especially, I feel like I knew the Wolves were going to win. I sound like LeBron. I knew 3 years ago. No, but I feel like in the third
To this day.
quarter is when it was really like, oh, the Wolves are going to win this game because Jokic had that sort of panicked, rushed look to him, like he did in games 1 and 2, and we hadn't seen that kind of rushed, like tilted off his axis version of Jokic since those games. I felt like even in game 6 where the Wolves were blowing them out of the water, Jokic he seemed like he for the most part like kept his composure. And this version of Jokic was the version from game 2 and game 1, I thought, where he kind of just looked like he got rushed out of his normal game. And when Jokic loses his composure, it's like the Nuggets go as he goes. So the second he loses his composure, I don't really feel like there's anyone on that team who can like steady the ship. Like he's kind of the guy that does it.
Yeah, well, like
he looked tired too. He looked really tired.
Well, he didn't rest.
We talked about like before. Yeah, we talked about before where he'll drop go 36 and 20, and like he's not even breathing deep. Like he's like he could just played an extra quarter. It seems like sometimes. And he looked tired. And I think that defense had him real tired. But he did look rushed. And there was a moment in that third quarter when the Wolves were still down, and you saw a look on Anthony Edwards' face. This is when I was like, they might do it. Where Ant didn't look like cool guy Ant. He looked like I don't know if you remember it, Mike, when he was showed him and he looked like it's time to fucking go. Like it was a little bit of like angst, like we gotta, like it's time to fucking go.
Well,
and it seemed like
I think Mike Conley hit a corner 3 when he was on the bench, and they cut to him as he was saying, "We're back in it." And like he had this look in his eyes that was like,
like this is the time, you know.
Put me in
like,
right now,
you know what I mean? And so that's when I was like, oh, like he's even when they was getting cooked in certain games, he looked hella chill. Like we'll be all right. At this point, it was like, yo, we need to do this now. We don't do it now. Like, that was just it's interesting to see him have that energy and then go out there and play the way he did after having that bad, first half and 2.5 quarters, whatever. But anyway.
And speaking of Mike Conley, I don't know if you guys touched on him already, but like he was so determined. Like it was so clear. Like he was, to me, that he's that sort of missing piece for that team that took them from like the ceiling that they had from Ant's potential last year to now when they made that trade for him. Ever since that trade, I feel like that's when they've had that sort of championship ceiling, because he is that steadying force, right? Like that we were talking about that Jokic isn't. Like when Jokic isn't for the Nuggets, they don't have one. Like he is that for the Wolves. And he seemed so incredibly determined in that second half. And it was like so inspiring to see. Like there was that one moment where he almost created the turnover, and then he dove on the ground for that loose ball, and there were 2 Nuggets trying to wrestle him for the loose ball, and he just like his entire body was just like wrapped around the ball, and he was just like shaking his head no, and it was just like that grit and that determination. Like who could you possibly be happier for than Mike Conley in this moment? Like nobody deserves this more. He's the most universally beloved NBA player I've ever seen. Like I've never heard in all my years of working in the league a bad word about him, and it's just so cool to see him have this moment.
You're right.
Everybody I know that knows him personally too talks about how kind he is when they met him. You know what I mean? Outside of basketball, like on the golf course type shit. You know what I'm saying? He's the guy, you hit a bad ball, he's like, it opens up down there, even if it doesn't. Like he's just very positive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can tell, like, that's how he plays basketball as well. Like it opens up down there. Like he's just hoping you haven't lost your ball. Like you'll be all right. You know what I mean? But he has that energy for sure.
I love the Johnny T times insight.
Throws up at some point.
Incredible.
I have my first unreleased Dragonfly Jonez tweet. So Claire tweeted the video that I played for John of Ant telling Chuck, "Bring your ass."
So good.
And Tyler said, "Whenever I'm talking to somebody about how we should kick it and they tell me bring your ass, I already know they're my type of people."
Facts.
Dude, he's just one amazing quote after another. Like it's a bottomless well. Like oh my God, I love Ant so much. I love that kid more every single day. And like you just knew that post game was going to be amazing. Like you just like it's like, oh, we have Anthony Edwards for a second post game, and it's like, cool. What quote that's going to be etched into the history books of the NBA are we going to get in this one? Because like there's just a different one every time.
Well, he understands the promotional aspect of it, which like we've talked about the pluses and minuses on this show of how like a lot of these guys correctly see themselves as like Fortune 500 companies that have a partnership with the NBA, right?
Yeah.
And Ant understands the like no, we got to like really sell this. And so for him, when they said, what are your first thoughts on the Mavs, to say, I'm guarding Kyrie, it was like, who's not immediately like, okay, what days of the week are that series going to be on?
So good.
Need.
So good.
But I think his relatability, him being normal, is his superpower. Like, he's obviously a great basketball player. That's he has to play good basketball for people to care, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But like him being relatable, like his relatability is his superpower. Where like he responds like normal people would respond. Like he's not a Fortune 500 company in his head. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's not a brand. He's just he's being himself, and I love that. Like he's bring your ass is probably what he says when he's at home with his homies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I told him, motherfucker, see you game 7. That's what he probably say when he's on the phone with his uncle or his cousins. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I love that about him. I just truly, truly love that about him. He's special, special, special.
He's so unapologetically himself. Like it's really beautiful to see. And to your point, like in an era of NBA players where they do all have kind of their own brands, their own like podcasts, social media stuff, whatever, it does feel like a lot of them are so heavily media trained now, and they're so guarded, and they have like all these canned answers to every question. And Ant is just someone like he's so authentic that just really shines through, even more so when he's surrounded by all these guys that are so calculated.
100%. Okay, this was not the only game 7 we had today. We also had the Pacers beating the Knicks. John and Claire and I are gonna break it down, but first, as I mentioned, our producer, Josh Rodriguez, is a New York native and huge Knicks fan. And
I'm so sorry, Josh.
I know the chat loves seeing us miserable. So Josh, what are your thoughts on game 7 and what felt like a once in a lifetime missed opportunity for the Knicks? Win game 7 at home, Eastern Conference Finals with the Celtics, like everything you have kind of been wanting to get back to. So what was your takeaway from the game, bro?
I mean, as a Knicks fan, it's just been kind of frustrating because you lose Julius going into the playoffs, and then you don't have Mitch to start the series because he gets hurt. Bowie gets hurt last playoff series. Then OG goes down. And it got to the point where it was just kind of like the writing was on the wall, where it's like, all right, this is just not our year. It's just, how is it going to end? And I think the most frustrating thing about everything is, I said this before last episode, I think the Pacers, like, for a playoff team, I think they suck. Like, there's no way they should be in the Eastern Conference Finals. They don't deserve to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. They played a Bucks team without Giannis. Dame was hurt. Chris Middleton was practically playing on one leg. And then you get a Knicks team that's basically missing half of the rotation. So as a Knicks fan, it just kind of hurts to lose to a team like that. But at the same time, there's a lot of optimism. I'm not taking it too hard. I think the Knicks now have like a 2 to 4 window where you can legitimately say, hey, this team go to the finals and maybe win one, given the circumstances, if they, fall correctly the way that they can. So, I mean, it's bittersweet because it was one of my most favorite Knicks teams of all time. It was a fun team to root for.
Yeah.
But it was over. I think the writings were on the wall. Like, once OG went down, like, that was it. It was just like, there's just no way. they're gonna
do you have concerns over a former Bulls fan who tweeted the following? Tibbs era. 1, Tibbs, this is from Flo's Andolini. Tibbs era. 1, Tibbs changes the culture. Players embrace hard work. 2, players perform beyond expectations. 3, a star is born or brought over. 4, expectations form. 5, a deep playoff run is expected. 6, freak injuries. 7, fans defend Tibbs hard. 8, players aren't the same next year. 9, fans turn on Tibbs. 10, he's fired. These are the 10 Tibbs commandments.
God.
The cycle of life.
If we get to commandment 8, then I'm panicking. Yeah, because they're still next year. And if they're not playing the same, then maybe. I think there's legit concern. I think there are a lot of Knicks fans on Twitter, especially, who are very sensitive about this. Like, if you even mention that this could be a problem, they'll flip on you and they'll curse you out and like, how dare you, question
you don't say.
Yeah.
But Knicks fans are so even keeled. What are you talking about?
We're so logical and we're so even tempered. We're a joy to be around. But I do think it is a fair question. It's not one that I'm asking right now. Julius's injury was kind of a freak injury with Jaime Jaquez. So to me, I don't know. I don't want to believe that's true. Do you know what I mean? There's so many good things happening right now that I don't even want to believe that that's true. I don't want to believe that next year around this time.
Look at how sorry John
the
feels
conversation.
I mean, to me,
look
I'm just thinking
look at the pity on John's face right now.
I'm looking at the injuries. You know what I mean? Like a hamstring injury. That's that happens from
Overused.
overexertion. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
And the
foot
abdominal
injuries,
strain.
And the abdominal
yeah.
too.
You know what
Yeah,
I
that
mean?
happens
Yeah.
from like
You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like,
48 minutes a game. Yeah. That'll do
that
it.
will do it. That'll do it. It's something like, yeah, this is a great team. They're fun as hell to watch, and they look. It seems like they fuck with Tibbs heavily. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
they love
But
him.
like,
That's part of the
bro,
cycle.
Exactly. But it's like, dog, like you just can't run players
Mhm.
into the ground and expect them to play deep into the playoffs like that.
Yeah.
It's just very hard. And the players he's running to the ground are guards.
But
You
to
know what I'm
be-
saying?
to be-
Go ahead.
To be fair to Tibbs, the reason why he ran those players into the ground was because he had no other choice. I mean, like I said, Julius was out, Mitch was out for a long time. They had a lot of injuries. And
I
we're talking
slightly
about-
disagree with that though,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think it's been revealed that one of Tibbs' like hallmark characteristics as a coach is that he only trusts a handful of players, which is
Yeah.
understandable. But
Yeah.
like we saw
Which he's correct about, right? I mean,
he's
like
mostly
that's-
correct
yeah,
about.
right.
But we
But
saw,
her-
for
but her
example,
point-
those
yeah.
Alec Burks minutes in the games where he had to start playing, and it's like, oh, this is like a legitimate rotation player. He had 26 points tonight in a closeout game. Like he could have been taking some of those minutes earlier in this playoff run or earlier towards the end of the season, and maybe you save yourself a Josh Hart abdominal injury, you know? So like that's the thing with Tibbs is I do kind of agree with John in that I think that Tibbs teams oftentimes do have ceilings as far as how far they can go because there's just only so many minutes you can put on your body. And I think it is that catch-22 of like, he is 100% the person who's going to get you across that threshold into being like a capable, really good playoff team. But he's also maybe not the person that can get you to that next level of being like a championship contender in the sense of like, this team to me should have come out of the East if everybody was healthy. Like I trust them over the Celtics 7 days a week, but they didn't make it there because of the injuries. And so that's the kind of devil's bargain with Tibbs is like, can you ever stay healthy enough with a Tom Thibodeau coach team to even get that far?
And I think sometimes it's not necessary. Like obviously, and I'll just point it out. There's injuries on every team. Like it does happen. And so it just is the fact that because it's his reputation, you're going to feel more causality with those injuries.
Yeah.
Even though there's no real way to say a hamstring strain, you know, one of my hamstring strains is just because I'm old and fat, not because I'm overusing it. Like you just don't know what's happening with that muscle group, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, we've talked about the different types of NBA coaches. I'm a 49ers fan, and we had Jim Harbaugh as our coach. I feel like Jim Harbaugh and Tibbs are very similar. Those dudes are not going to be in one place for 15 years. Like they ramp up energy, they bring guys to a new threshold, and then eventually that burns you out to some extent, whether that's sort of at the organization or that core group of players or whatever. And I feel like I've been a huge fan of every team he's ever coached because I love the way that they play. But I do feel like there does come a ceiling to it. And I hope that the Knicks haven't hit it because I really love this Knicks team.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, not as much as Claire and Josh, obviously, but I hope it's not the end for them. It was so much fun seeing the Garden going crazy. I'm gonna say something nice about the Pacers in a second, but on the Knicks, I'm heartbroken because the Boston New York Eastern Conference Final.
Oh my God,
was just it was a
so
dream.
much hate. That makes
we were a game
good.
away. We were a
Right.
game away.
Right. I think the falling apart is not it's I think it's an anomaly, but I don't think it's a coincidence that it was
Exactly.
a Tibbs coach team.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm at with it. We're like, we don't see teams. I think the last time we saw a team fall apart like this in a series was probably the Warriors. You know what I mean?
You're saying just physically falling apart.
Just physically
With
falling
Kevin
apart
Durant
like
and Clay.
this? Yeah.
When
man,
it was just like it felt like almost like a Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Exactly,
Yeah.
like this. Turn the injuries off on the game,
Right.
bro. Like,
Right.
just tweak it. You know
For
what
real.
I'm saying? But it doesn't feel coincidental, being how Tibbs history. So
Yeah.
we'll
I
see.
think
I hope
it's
I'm
a mixture.
wrong.
It's a mixture of
Yeah.
both. To me, like Bowie got hurt because he got fell on, in the backcourt in the 76ers game, and Julius's injury had nothing to do with fatigue. But I do think you can make the argument with Josh's injury, and you can make the argument OG's injury that hey, it might have been because they're running out there for 45 minutes a game. So I think
I'm not gonna mess with your thought process because you're like you say you fall in love with the team because of that identity that he puts on the team.
That's the
And
thing.
so I can't I'm not gonna mess with you as a fan. I've thought way crazier things than the things you're thinking.
Mike, I'm happy for the first time in 20 years, man.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not.
Just let me be happy, bro.
And it was so funny too.
Just
This
let me
Knicks
be happy.
team is so tenacious and so resilient that so I was at a Knicks bar, an incredible Knicks bar in Silver Lake where it was like packed to the gills, standing room only, watching this game with Knicks fans. And it wasn't until Jalen Brunson broke his literal hand that the hope was actually lost, because it was like, it didn't matter that OG only played 4 minutes, and it didn't matter that Josh was playing through an abdominal strain. Like, Mitch is gone, Julius is gone. Like, they're dropping like flies, but the fan base always kept hope just because they were so incredibly resilient. So I do feel like if they had, just like a couple more players that Tibbs could trust, a couple more rotational players that he could trust next year, that I really do think they can be right back here. I don't have a ton of faith in anybody in the East, really, so I don't see any reason why they can't make their way back. I'm team find a way to get Mikal Bridges if possible. I love the Nova Knicks.
Doing it. The Infinity Stones are coming together. I'm telling you.
It's the last Infinity Stone. It's the last Infinity Stone.
I do think, and obviously, Chicago is not like a small market team or something, but I do think there's something to the magic of the Garden. I don't know if the Knicks brand has that, but playing in New York, playing in front of those fans, there is something that hopefully, even though he does have the reputation we've discussed within the league, hopefully that is enough of an attractant that it sort of offsets that, because I do think, who would not want to go be a part of? I mean, you saw what those fans were doing for a Eastern Conference semifinal.
Yeah.
Like, who would not want to be a part of getting that team over the hump, So, I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to quibble a little bit with what Josh said about the Pacers not being an Eastern Conference Finals team in the following regard. There's been some historic things about this team when it comes to pace. I think we've been critical, and I stand by the criticism because we're Anthony Edwards type people, as we discuss, of Tyrese Haliburton for being too passive or for his game being too facilitation first. However, this is what the Pacers did today, and this is the case for them as a team that could beat the Celtics or that's worth watching in the Eastern Conference Finals. All 5 starters between 17 and 26 points. The team as a whole shot 67.1% from the field, which I believe is the highest field goal percentage by any team in NBA playoff history, not just game 7s. And they do all that at pace. 130 points for them is not an unrepeatable thing. That is just the way that their team is built to go, even in the playoffs. So they don't have the compelling storyline of the other 3 teams that are in the conference finals, but I do think they maybe, we talk about the likability of the Thunder or the Knicks. They might be the team that has the team dynamic that's sort of the most appealing in that regard. You guys buy or sell that? Am I full of shit?
I buy that, actually. I don't hate this Pacers team, just for the record.
Period.
I know they're
actually fun.
You're like, let me pull this back a little bit.
Yeah, I know I sound very soft right now. That's because my team just lost, so I'm angry about it.
You should be.
But they are a fun team to watch. I mean, they're offensively, they're incredible, and defensively at home, they're great. I don't know what happens on the road, but defensively at home, they're fine. So I actually think that they're going to give the Celtics a little bit of a run. I think they'll probably go 6 or like a hard 5, if that makes any sense. But I do think they're fun to root for. It's just, right now, the Knicks just lost today, so I'm just kind of feeling a little down.
That was the craziest shot making I've ever seen in my entire life.
It was insane. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And I think it actually literally, according to NBA history, was the craziest shot making I've ever seen in my entire life. Because I think they said it was the highest field goal percentage ever in a game 7 in NBA history. It was like 67% from the field by the time all was said and done. So,
but I think
75 first half, something like that.
And I'll add this: the Pacers
78
are
crazy.
a great example of the in-season tournament working, because I've watched a dozen Pacers games this year, and normally going into the playoffs, I would perhaps have seen that team play one time. You know what I mean? So I do think that's their strength. John and Claire, give me series predictions. Is there any interest in predicting a Pacers upset of the Celtics?
No, but I will say, I think the Pacers will get a game. To your point, I agree with you, Josh. A game, maybe 2. The Celtics are good for 1, get lazy and give a game away game per series. So I feel like at minimum 5 games. But then I could see the Pacers maybe, if they have another crazy hot shooting night like that, and the Celtics are not having a hot shooting night, like I could see them getting 2 games. I don't think they're going to upset them, though. I think the Celtics are going to win that series.
I think the Celtics have a bozo game, and I think the Celtics have a we just can't hit shit game. And and I think it goes 6. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I actually don't think the games when the Celtics win will be that close. I think the games when the Celtics win, they'll show that we're a much better team.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Like with them winning today, like we saw Haliburton. We said too passive. He wasn't passive today. I think the games that they won, he wasn't passive. So there was some truth to what we were saying with that.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean the ball moving and shit. He's a very likable player. You know, that's what makes it frustrating when he's not going hard. It's like, I want you to succeed. You know, even though I was rooting for the Knicks, I'm still wanting Haliburton to go out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, we're
gonna talk about.
You see the jersey, the hoodie he had on.
Okay, let's talk about it now.
I hate that so much. I hate it. I hate it.
Here's my question.
It's fun though if you're
because
not
no,
a Knicks fan.
he wants.
I don't believe him.
He wants the villain role, and that's my question.
I don't believe him.
I think he's goofy. I think he's
too goofy to be a villain?
He's way too goofy to be a villain. I don't believe him. I don't believe it at all. Like the thing is, Trae Young, when he was like taking on and leaning into that heel role at MSG and, you know, like motioning to the crowd and stuff like that, like Trae Young is good at being a villain. And I have respect for anyone who's willing to step into those shoes if they're good at doing it. The problem is Tyrese Haliburton is like, I'm going to help an old lady cross the street. Like that is his vibe. And
that's good.
Respect. And that's
it's
good.
good when you're not
guy,
playing a villain.
Right.
We need people like that in the world.
Too. Let's not say Trae Young wouldn't.
You think so?
But he's a better actor than
Trae would not.
He crossed her up, she falls, then he helped her. But he had to cross
anybody cross the road.
No, I don't believe. I think Trae would probably be like looking down at his phone, texting, and like not even paying attention, probably.
Yes.
But no, like, so Tyrese is just like, he seems like a really good dude. He seems like a sweetheart. He seems like he has a heart of gold. That's all fine and good. If you want to be the heel to the freaking New York Knicks, you gotta be a little like spicier than that. He's vanilla, right? Can we admit it? He's pretty vanilla.
I think he's a troll. And I think Trae Young was a villain.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think he's trolling the Knicks fans. Like Trae Young truly enjoyed the hate.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so did, and this is the problem in this rivalry in particular, is you're following in the footsteps of Reggie Miller, who is a true villain, who was getting ready to call Game 7 tonight and still went and posted on his Instagram a picture of the Knicks talking shit to him with the caption, "When the series changed, Jalen Brunson, you're a true baller, been the best player in these playoffs, but you and your boys can all heal up together on some beautiful beaches in Cancun. Please enjoy."
Such
with 2 exclamation points.
That hates forever. And
hashtag God don't like ugly.
But you believe it when he does it because he's just such a hater. He's just such a, you know what? I hate to bring up I don't hate to, I love to, but I apologize for bringing up the Kendrick and Drake feud in 2 concurrent episodes, but it reminds me of, like, I was saying this about the Kendrick and Drake thing. It feels like the reason Drake was never going to win that beef is because it felt like Drake was just participating. Like, he's like, I'm here in this feud, so I'm going to like do my perfunctory response and participate. Kendrick actively really hates him, and it's obvious. Like, he deeply in his bones, and he's a hater. He was born in the hate, and you can't summon or fake hate if it doesn't live within you. And I think that's the problem, is like Tyrese probably doesn't hate anybody.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Reggie's a hater. He's a true hater.
Yeah. Drake didn't have enough disdain in him to really get really nasty like he needed to in order to win that battle.
And one more condescending thing to say about the Pacers. I don't believe Knicks fans actually thought the Pacers and Haliburton were like on equal footing, right? So like Reggie and Trae, the time, it's like, man, these guys might be better than us, or they're at least on the same level. If you ask any Knicks fan, we're gonna be like, yeah, we lost that series because we're not healthy, period. Like Haliburton, whatever, he went off, but like,
you ask any basketball fan.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I was just gonna say, you ask anybody, really.
Yeah, we know what time
also,
it was.
the chat's calling him a Disney villain at best.
Disney's got some good villains.
Yeah, Disney villains used to keep me up at night as a child. Like, they were scary.
Bro. Yeah, like you can't put Tyrese Haliburton on the same category.
Scar was Cruella
evil,
bro.
Scar was evil.
You know, Cruella DeVille was skinning puppies, bro.
Seriously.
Tyrese Haliburton's not skinning puppies.
Nah,
he's not shooting Bambi's mom in the head, bro. Come on.
Was it Ursula from Little Mermaid?
Yeah,
still hate her. She's still nasty. You know,
it's the difference between someone who would skin a puppy and someone who would watch that movie and cry, and that's who we're talking about. Is Tyrese Haliburton. I really believe he probably cried when he watched 101 Dalmatians.
Hell yeah!
But salute to him because he played amazing tonight. So that's. I mean, they won.
He's a dream. He's a dream. He's like a Nickelodeon villain, like a DreamWorks villain. At best.
Maybe a Pixar villain. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a Pixar villain. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, exactly. He's like your own guilt. You know what I mean?
he's like Roger Klotz. He's like Roger Klotz. That's where he reminds me of from Doug.
He's like Dr. Robotnik or something.
Yes,
you know what I mean? It's like
Robotnik.
he's a villain, but it's kind of like funny at the same. You're not afraid of him at any point.
I saw a tweet last week that was like, Tyrese Haliburton is the kid that reminds the teacher they forgot to assign homework.
Bro, I feel like Haliburton roots for the cops in car chases. You know what I mean? That's why, I feel like, because they're wrong. You know what I mean? Like, we need to, like, get these people off the street. I feel like he's that type
They're
of
never
dude.
going to let any of us in Indiana after this.
And maybe he's probably right in that, but who's rooting for the cops in that situation? You know,
Claire,
what I
do you
mean?
know John had a beef with the whole state of Indiana? Were you aware of that?
I'm not. What's the beef?
Yeah.
When he was working at Yahoo, he made a video that was making fun of Indiana, and it was like people literally were like, I mean, it was like a thing for a couple of days on all over social media. People were like, "You're not allowed to come to Indiana."
Oh my God. Well, I'm sure.
You. The fuck? I went to Indianapolis twice. The best thing about going to Indianapolis was leaving, and I said that prior to the beef, nigga. Like years before that, I went to ask somebody for where did I go get something to eat. I wanted what type of cuisine y'all got here. They sent me to a Subway. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Get me the fuck out of here, bro. I want to go home. I
did skip All-Star in Indiana. I skipped it,
bro. Because that's what I said. I said, I said we don't want an All-Star game in Indianapolis. Like, no. I mean, Chicago was cold, but at least it was Chicago. I was doing Chicago shit with my Chicago friends. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, anyway, I didn't want to go to the All-Star game, and they had like people enter. Have you heard of LaJethro Jenkins? Could you watch this video? Like in the streets, like Fox News. Bro. Yeah. Fox News was interviewing people about what I said. I'm like, what the fuck?
They were really, it was really,
I'm not that important for it.
It was an enjoyable time.
Just another elite.
Chat, I would say
that. They thought I was I'm from St.
Just
Louis,
another West Coast elite, John.
I had an LA hat on, though. They thought, what I'm saying? They were like, I heard you're not even from LA. You're from St. Louis. Yeah, nigga, fuck you. And I wouldn't give a fuck what you said about St. Louis. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't give a fuck about you. Like,
that's a little, it's a little.
We wouldn't interview about what you said because we don't give a fuck, nigga. Fuck you. Fuck Indianapolis, nigga. And you fuck your opinion. You feel me? Everybody but Haliburton and fucking Turner, nigga. I don't give a fuck about nobody else in that city. Now, for real, there's some cool people that hit me up about that. Really cool. But dog, I could imagine some goofy ass nigga saying some shit about St. Louis and we interview. Have you heard about this? No, because we don't care. Go somewhere.
Did you see the clip of Haliburton made the shot over Deuce and then did the too small? And then when Deuce turned around, he went like he was pretending to like wipe his nose.
He started picking his nose.
That's why I know he's not a real hater, because he can't stand on it 10 toes down. It's like, if you're going to be a hater, you have to be a hater front facing, back facing, to the side.
Yeah.
I still like Tyrese.
Aaron Morris says Tyrese Haliburton is a high school musical bully.
Yeah, there you go. That's
he has on dress shoes. You know what I mean? Like,
And I would add, like, I'm not even saying this is an insult. I thought when Braun tried to be the like black headband villain in Miami, I didn't think it fit. Like it didn't work on Braun either to me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just some people have that kind of energy, and some people, Braun is meant to. He's a community uplifted person. He's meant to dunk on someone and then run around smiling. Like, you know what I mean? That's some people's energy. Ant is that mixture of both energies.
Mm-hmm.
He is a happy person who wants to kill you, and I think that's what's so
your
exciting.
Life on a basketball court.
And I think that's where people the MJ comparisons make sense to me.
Yeah.
It's a similar energy.
You can't try and pretend like you're a Slytherin when you're ultimately a Gryffindor. You know, it just shines through.
I love that. I love it.
We could get into my Percy Jackson greater than Harry Potter takes if we want to like really dive into it. Hey,
are we gonna get in the weeds?
I just read the first Percy Jackson book with my son, and do you know how he ends the first book, John?
No, talk to me.
His mom's husband, his stepfather, was like abusing her or whatever. He realizes this at the end of the book. And he literally goes to his mom and is like, I'll kill him. Like, oh God. He was like, just say the word.
Spoiler alert.
Send me the link. Send me the
link.
I don't give a fuck.
Bro, I was like, I love this little motherfucker.
I've been there, brother. I've been there.
Damn, it took a dark turn.
Real hands on the nah.
That's real hate right there. All right.
I have the hate. I won't say the other part. That other part is dark. That's crazy. Yeah.
All right. Tyler's he tweeted this, but he also texted this is his take on the Pacers advancing. He said the Celtics have no excuses after going through a Jimmy-less Heat, Cleveland, Indianapolis, and then either Dallas or Minnesota. If they fuck this one up, they won't ever be shit. Ever.
I mean, is he wrong?
I think he's exactly right.
Look at least, okay, in the finals, they're going to be facing a seriously formidable opponent, I think it's going to be the Timberwolves, whether it's the Timberwolves or the Mavericks. But in the East, like, you know, the Knicks They never even had to face the Knicks because they lost like 4/5 of their starting lineup. The Bucks, never had to face the Bucks because they were without Giannis and Dame. I mean, like Miami was without Jimmy. Philly was without a healthy Embiid.
The Cavs were without Donovan Mitchell and some of it. I mean, it was like
literally like there were no stars available in the
They didn't
East.
even get the best version of the seven, of the Cavs and then of the Heat. And it was like, yeah. So no, I totally agree with him. Let's talk for a minute about the Mavs beating the Thunder. I've made a decision regarding this Thunder team.
Okay.
I'm going to inherit the beef from Seattle, and it's fuck the Thunder until the Supersonics exist again. I've just decided.
All right.
You don't like that, bro? You don't like those guys?
Nah, fuck them.
Politics
I like Shea.
aside,
I
all
like
that
Shea.
shit.
I like Shea. Fuck everybody else though.
Okay.
Fuck the franchise. Fuck the wearing the t-shirts. Fuck the fuck all of it until because they stole that team, bro. And fuck them. That's why.
I don't like the clothes you wear. I don't like the shoes you have on. I don't like how you smell, how you smile, nigga. Like you hate everything about
That's a true hater right there.
That's real, bro.
He's such a hater that he didn't even have hate, and he just like found a reason. Like he just like found a beef. He adopted somebody else's beef.
Yeah, because I have friends of mine from Seattle who celebrate the Thunder's downfall like no other.
Yeah.
And I just saw the tweets and I was like, yeah.
This is my type of party, brother.
Yeah, fuck the Thunder. Yeah. But I mean, it's people that like they're tweeting GIFs of windows closing. You know what I mean? That was like, oh, they'll be back. Like the window's gonna be open for the next decade, just like when KD and Russ.
I saw that image. That was a nasty retweet. Oh, that was just mwah.
I do think they'll be back though. I really do. Like, because I get it. Like the West is gonna, theoretically get better. Obviously, like Wemby will probably be elevating the Spurs. Jaw's going to come back to the Grizzlies. But also we've seen like, the upper echelon of
the Lakers are going to get JJ Redick and be the 1 seed.
Exactly. They're going to get LeBron another ring. No, but we just saw the Wolves, upset the defending champs. Like the West is vulnerable and it's still going to be vulnerable. Like it's very good. There's a ton of parity though. There's a ton of parity in the West. I think there's a lot of really good teams, and I don't know if they'll get, to the conference finals next year, but I think they'll be right back in the playoff mix for sure.
I mean, Shea had to have a perfect season, like averaging 30, shooting 55 from the field, like nearly like 30, like 38.
But that was to be the 1 seed though, and they're probably going to get better.
Yeah.
Like they're probably going to go find some size, and so they're probably going to go do the stuff they should have done at the trade deadline.
Oh, for sure. If they do.
So I think they're going to get better. I think they're going to move off Giddey. I think they should. I don't think he's probably not as bad as he looks right now, just because he's super miscast in that role. But like they have a lot of improvements they can make, and they have the tools and assets to make those improvements. Yeah. So I don't see why they can't be right back, honestly.
Giddey had a all-time, like we've been making fun of Rudy Gobert, whoever. Giddey had an all-time what the fuck are you doing moment in that game
so
6.
Bad.
He drove the I mean, it was one of those, like if they let a fan, like, would you like to try and get a layup on an NBA set? Like it was so bad.
It was really terrible.
Like, get this dude the fuck out of here, bro.
He was really bad that whole series, honestly.
He was, for sure. And I agree with you that he's not like, it's not necessarily that he can't be an effective player. He's just not in the right role with the pieces they brought in. And he's obviously the piece that you would not keep of those pieces that don't fit. So,
yeah.
Okay. We're going to wrap up with our, Claire, this is great. You're here on a Sunday. You get to do Dookie Butt of the Week. We end the show.
You know what Dookie Butt is?
With one.
I mean, out of the context of this show, yes, but
we end the show with one person, place, or thing that we truly hate. And so I will open up my Dookie Butt of the Week is the Los Angeles Clippers, because as of tonight, here's just a short list of people or teams that have been to the Western Conference Finals more than the Clippers. Luka has now been to more Western Conference Finals than the history of the Clippers, and the Minnesota Timberwolves, with their second Western Conference Finals appearance, are now more postseason success than the LA Clippers. Congratulations. The haunted state of Minnesota has doubled you up on Western Conference Finals appearances.
John, you have to go next because I need another second to think about mine.
This is kind of a throwback. This has to do with boogers. Baby girl started eating them, dog.
Oh no.
No.
She been doing this a lot. And I was like, Somi, stay out your nose, baby girl. That ain't cool. You feel me? Like, cut it out.
Yeah.
And the day we was in Target and she finished it out. And I'm like, I looked away, looked back, and she had her thumb in her mouth. I'm like, what you doing? She's like,
no.
Just eating a booger. Like, calm.
She just
Matter of fact.
Matter of fact. I'm like,
wow.
baby, we don't do that. That's nasty work, baby. Don't do that. She looked at me like,
it was delicious, Dad.
yeah, she's like, right.
You damage your own credibility.
You're seasoned to perfection. You know, what do you why would I not eat these? Are you kidding me?
It is such
perfect hit of salt right here. Like, she loved it. It was
it's such a tough battle with toddlers because their taste buds only taste salt and sugar. It's the only like flavors that they can understand. So it's like,
guys, I'm gonna barf. This is so gross.
Yeah.
Sorry, Claire.
It's the life out we live.
It's the life. That's the life. Josh, who's your Dookie Butt of the week?
All right, so this is going to sound bad at first, but my Dookie Butt of the week is the WNBA, and it's for investigating the Aces for each one of their players getting $100,000 in sponsorship.
What's that? I was wondering what that was about.
From the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. So
basically, you're saying the league is bad for investigating.
Yes.
Okay.
Let these women get their money. Like this is great for the game. They're growing the game. They're growing the league. The city of Las Vegas decided that they wanted to sponsor each player and give them each, from Asia Wilson to the last bench player, $100,000 for just as a sponsorship. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a great thing. I think it's a way that a city can support the players and support the league. And the league is going out there and investigating it because it might violate the salary cap somehow.
You can see how it would violate the salary cap.
But it's not the organization paying players. Right. That's a sponsorship. I mean, that's if like
it feels like boostery with like NCAA prior to
I get it.
You know,
I get it, but
that makes sense. But
by all means, it seems like they went about it the right way. So for me, I just don't think now is the time to be investigating something that like that where I feel like the WNBA is fighting for relevancy in the sense where a lot of people still don't take the league seriously for whatever freaking reason. And these ladies are severely underpaid. They don't get as much as the revenue share as the men do. So for me, I just think that this is a bad look for the WNBA.
Also,
and it's just like, please get money.
The other broke cities just need to get their paper up.
Thank you.
Broke ass.
Broke
boy cities out here hating on Vegas.
Yeah, I do think that's the tension of the WNBA though. Like we talked about, the max salary in the WNBA, it's insane. It's not tied to actual profitability and revenue. Like the league minimum is very low, and so they've always been constrained by. And this is what a lot of the growing pains have been coming from. The NBA always saw it as like a growth initiative, but almost like a promotional thing. And the players obviously correctly see it as a competitive league of the best players in the world. And so you have this tension of the NBA. I mean, it's amazing that the league started and that the NBA supported it, but they also were suppressing its growth by not treating it as a competitive professional league that you would want owners who are trying to pour money in and get into a bidding war. That's been the success formula for every American professional sports league or international too. Yeah. So this is a good example. Like you said, Josh, it's like, if a company has a policy of just signing every Los Angeles Laker to a $100,000 endorsement deal, no one gives a fuck about that. Right. But because the WNBA, the salary
almost
scale
doubles
is so
their salary.
I feel like it's more that they're worried about the light it's going to shine on than any actual salary cap.
Right.
That's so true.
Right.
WNBA related. Have y'all been hearing how people are talking about Caitlin Clark? Like have y'all been peeping like dude just saying, the WNBA is approaching this all wrong. The players in there basically don't compete with her. Let her drop 20, 30 a game for the first couple years to keep that. I mean, we're seeing like NBA, like ex-NBA.
Hey, they've been going out of their way to beat the shit out of Caitlin Clark though, bro.
Yeah,
I haven't heard one good Caitlin Clark take this week. Like it's either like they need to be easier on her, or it's like oh she's a bust and she can't survive in the league. Right. Instead of just like there's an adjustment phase. It's normal.
She's figuring it out. Yeah.
She's
figuring it out. She'll be fine.
Fine.
Well, I
She'll
think
be
also
fine.
like one thing about the WNBA is that the disparity between the top team and the bottom team is there's a significant disparity, and she gets drafted by the team with the worst record. That's how
They have the number one. How do you think they got the number one
right.
pick?
That's it.
Two
That's
years
how.
in a row.
That's how.
2 years in a row.
So, but it's sort of like the way I think it would be like if you were to say like Wemby's the savior of the NBA. Like, why didn't they let him get to the playoffs? It's like, well, no, like they want to bust his fucking ass, and they want to bust Caitlin. Like that's how this shit is supposed to work.
I've never heard that though. I've never heard people saying that they shouldn't compete with a player.
Right.
I have never heard that. That's been
People
insane.
just don't know how to be normal about this, and it's embarrassing. It's just like, just watch. Just let her learn how to be in the WNBA and just watch it like a fucking normal person.
Right.
Jesus.
Just like, God.
No, people don't know how to be normal about women's sports. I think that's exactly right. It's just
Seriously.
like, it's like, yes, is it a huge deal that she's in has her presence in the league changed things for the league?
Of course.
Obviously, without question. It's still a competitive league. That's what's exciting about it is people wanting to beat the hell out of her. And then as she gets her footing, as that team's hopefully able to put better players around her, then her, right. That's what sports are.
Yeah. She gets her get back. That's what we waiting on for Wemby.
Right,
you know what I
right,
mean? Like,
right. All right. Claire, your Dookie butt of the week.
My Dookie butt of the week is Reggie Miller. Because I think it's really corny when people I think it's corny when just like normal fans are like, we need to do this. I'm just like, dude, you didn't do anything. You weren't out there. You weren't playing, whatever. So that language already pisses me off. But then Reggie trying to like take glory from the Pacers for winning this series. It's like, my guy, you haven't laced up basketball shoes in like 2 decades. Like, just please chill. And then on top of that, he makes me listen to his blathering on. He's a horrible color commentator. He shits all over a beautiful Kevin Harlan performance. And I'm just sick of him. I'm sick of Reggie Miller. I don't hate a lot of people, but if I have to think of one Dookie butt of the week, that was mine.
Can I tell you the only thing I like about Reggie Miller is I love watching Kevin Harlan. I love feeling the exasperated sighs that he's swallowing. Like I tweeted about that like my favorite thing about Kevin Harlan is he's not given Reggie Miller a single pity laugh. The entire time
he just lets that's those jokes just land flat on their face.
Like you can hear him splat. And then today
he'll give him a little space too, like to sit.
Yeah,
like,
he's like, nah, I'm just gonna let it rock for a second.
I'm gonna let it ride. You feel me? Let you sit with that. Think
and then
hold
today,
that L.
like Jokic. I mean, he only sat for like a minute and a half or something, but the Timberwolves got a run going when he was on the bench, and they had talked about that on the broadcast. And then like 5 minutes of game time later,
I know exactly
Reggie Miller's like, oh yeah, like he hasn't sat at all. And then Kevin Harlan lets it sit for a second. He's like, he did sit for a little bit, but your point stands, Reg. You're just like,
it's so good. Oh man, justice for
playing a lot of
Harlan.
minutes, Reg. You're right. Like,
it's really painful to listen to. And I mean, I'm not saying that like every color commentator needs to be like a savant at it. I know it's a difficult job, but like he just stands out as being especially bad at it, and it's tough. It's a tough listen.
He's not as bad as he used to be.
Are you sure?
I'll say that.
I mean, it's not as bad as the forcing the Kodak moment thing. Like, I'll give you, like, I will give you, because those were excruciating. We used to hop on the podcast and just shiver about that.
He called Catmandu today, and then laughed at his own joke, and then no one else on the panel laughed. So if he's gotten better, I haven't noticed.
I like a person that laughs at their own jokes. I like a person. I love like say a corny ass joke and they just laugh like fuck y'all. That shit, I like this.
That's the Dave Chappelle when he's doing stand up and he hits the mic against his leg and he walks away.
Right. Nobody even is kind of dry joke, but you feel me? Seinfeld does it too, but
I think like Jamal Crawford to me should be the meteor that hit the Reggie Miller dinosaurs. I like, you know what I mean? It's
he's way better already.
I love Jamal Crawford. That's an easy
and he's talking basketball. None of that, I'm not trying to come out with no Kodak moment, cool shit. Bro. I'm talking straight hoops here, bro. I love that.
Yeah. All right, that's all the time we got. Thanks to everyone for tuning in with us. Claire, thanks for hopping on again. Claire literally
God, my
hit me
pleasure.
on Twitter and was
Thank
like, I
you.
need to talk about the Timberwolves. Like, let's do it.
I was like, I need to come back soon because there's so much to talk about. And he's like, how about literally right
Yeah,
now?
I was like, here's the link. Prove that you want to come back on the show.
I'm about that life. Let the record show I'm about that life.
Just
Let the
like
record reflect,
yes,
you feel me?
just like Tyler and the rest of the podcast, Claire will die for this podcasting show.
Yes.
Keep out there.
All right,
Keep
our
out
schedule
there.
this week, we will be recording live on Tuesday and Thursday. So obviously after the first two Eastern Conference games, and then we will record on Sunday, which will be after Game 3 of Timberwolves Mavs, and obviously we'll be talking about the Western Conference Finals as we go. Thanks to everyone for listening. If you're listening to this in podcast format, you can hop on Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday night live with us on YouTube, youtube.com/@JenkinsandJones. Claire, once again, thank you. Josh, thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank
John, wish you
Appreciate
luck
you.
with the booger eating situation,
Oh,
and
man.
we'll see
Pray
y'all
for
on
your boy,
Tuesday.
man.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.